Welcome to Surrender School.
At Surrender School, we recover. The mission statement. At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12 steps and 12-step and other supportive recovery solution to those who want a healthy relationship with food. We're not an official 12-step meeting, but we do try to adhere to the spirit of the traditions. If you'd like to donate, you can find the donate at the bottom of the website's front page. And if Surrender School has helped your recovery, please donate. Would you like to help out at Surrender School? There are many opportunities for you to help in any area that you're passionate about. You can contact Lori B. This is her phone number. She is on WhatsApp, and you can always reach out to me. I'll have my telephone and email at the end, and then I can forward the information down the line. And there is a WhatsApp Surrender School group. So this is the QR and it works. So you can just hold your phone with your camera up to it. And then there'll usually be just like a thing that you can click the link, and you actually have to click that to get into it. So, this is our 12 steps in 12 weeks. The agenda is that we have prayers, there's going to be reading. Today, we're going to do a meditation and writing, and shares will end at 1 o'clock. We do readings from the AA Big Book, the AA 12 and 12, and the OA 12 and 12. And then if you have writing material to journal, and thankfully we don't have to have anything to do a meditation. So we're good for that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started with the set aside prayer. God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me to see the truth. And this serenity prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. Welcome all to step 7. So I'm going to get us started by reading just the big book. So we're going to be reading in the big book, step 7, and I've got so many pages marked. 67. So we're in the big book, page 67, and we are on the second paragraph. And I love this. I love it's very, very simple. When ready, we say something like this: My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed step 7. And so, step 7, if you want to read it from, I think most of the literature that I read is just humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. And the spiritual principle is humility. And in the 12 and 12, the AA 12 and 12, we talk a lot about humility. We were talking about the AA 12 and 12 and the rich writing in that prior to this. Um, and we talk about humility. And we've discussed humility a lot here. We've discussed it in a lot. We've discussed the difference between humiliation and humility, our character defects, and what we can do about them whenever we realize that we've already taken them. A big practice among AAers is actually to physically get down on your knees, like in the morning, physically get down on your knees, and to maybe say the third and the seventh step prayer, or to do your own version of just here I am. I am doing life on my own really doesn't support me anymore. I've done it that way a lot and it's not working. So here we go. Here I am. And just the physicality of getting down and maybe even like prostrating yourself is my sponsor has this really sweet story that she tells where her sponsor had told her that, and it stung a little bit. That was a little bit of a sting. And so her sponsor just told her something to the effect of, well, just get down under the bed and get your slippers. And then while you're doing that, say that prayer. And I love that. However, we can adopt an attitude of humility that works for us that isn't humiliation also. So I'm going to read on page 53 in the AA 12 and 12. And it talks about having, and this is step 7. Second, often a shortcoming isn't removed immediately or it returns after being gone for a while. Every one of us has experienced struggles with some of our character defects, even after praying for their removal. The existence of the struggle is not a sign that we lack humility, but what attitude do we take during these difficult times? If we're surprised, shocked, deflated, or discouraged when a defect returns, we lack humility. If we get angry at God, ourselves, or other people because we have the defect, we lack humility. Real humility about our character defects carries with it acceptance. We accept that each defect, as painful as it may be, is a part of who we are. With humble acceptance, we can quietly say to our higher power, oh, this is page, yes, this is page 53 in the OA 12 and 12, not the AA. I'm sorry if I said that. It is part of who we are. With humble acceptance, we can quietly say to our higher power, I am this way, and only with your help can I change. And I love that. And I'm going to tell y'all a story that happened yesterday. My friend Nancy already knows this story, but I'm going to go ahead and say this story because for some reason I've been kind of sewing or interweaving just stories that I'm dealing with like every day. I love it whenever somebody says, "Oh, I had this really powerful thing that happened to me and it was years ago and I recovered." But there's something different than saying, "Yeah, this was yesterday." This is not a necessarily recovered human being, and this is somebody that has a lot of character defects. So, yesterday I met a friend at our local botanic gardens, and she had gifted me with a membership. And every once in a while, we just go and we go in the gardens, and it's just a really nice experience. So we met yesterday at 7:30, and we did the look around the gardens, and talking about the flowers and everything. And we came to this pond, and since I was a little girl, it has been empty. And when I was a little girl, the pond had lily pads. And we both like locked eyes and we were like, oh my God, this pond has lily pads in it again after all these years. Because I think maybe it must have had some bacteria or something and they just had wiped it clean for a while. And so I asked her, I said, hey, would you mind if I sit here and I meditate for a few minutes? And I said, give me 10 minutes. And I said, you don't have to stay here. Just give me 10 minutes and I'd like to do that. And I've meditated before while we were together. And so it didn't seem like an odd thing to ask. And so she left, and I had like this great meditation for several minutes. And then at about minute 8, I was done. And I waited very patiently in this meditative state for a very long time. And then I got up because I was now facing the sun. It was really hot. And I went to a bench and I sat there, and the bench started getting sun in it. And I waited for a really long time. And after about an hour, I went searching for her. I mean, I was supposed to meditate for 10 minutes. And at the hour, I'm like, I am not sane anymore. I'm absolutely not sane. I'm feeling every sort of abandonment, and I was able through this work that we have done, I was able to feel my feelings and exactly know what they were. I was feeling incredibly abandoned. I was also feeling like she may have heard something else. Maybe she heard me say, I'm sitting here and I'm leaving you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I abandoned her by just this act of doing my little quiet time. Like, am I at fault here? Should I not have done that? And I thought she may very well have gotten her feelings hurt. And now I am going to have to owe an amends without making the excuse, but I only said 10 minutes. I swear to you. So I was in a panic and I had to remind myself, Amber, you are an adult. You have the keys to your car and you have a car. You've not been left at Disneyland, but my body reacted like I was a little child who had been abandoned at at a theme park. And my husband actually did get lost in one of the Disney World parades. Poor little thing. And he's not an addict, and he just thought it was fun, and he went along, and his parents were freaking out. But that is my reaction yesterday to that. And at about an hour and a half, I was so triggered. I went to my car and I was like, I'm done. I have got to get home. I need to make sure she's safe because at this point I wasn't even sure if she was safe. Like, did she maybe bump her head and fall in one of the 20, ponds at that place, or 30? And I had walked the entire ground. I had walked the grounds trying to find her. I couldn't find her. I called her, her cell phone was off, and I was pretty sure she was upset with me, right? Like we had gotten our communication crossed and she was upset. And so come to find out, she had turned off her phone and decided to also meditate. And she was also in a better spiritual place than I am because she was able to meditate for a really long time. And she said that she went to a bench that was actually really close to mine and she was just waiting for me. And so she was not in any fear. And I actually, when I finally got a hold of her, I was like, I am so glad. I'm so glad that you're okay. I am worried about you. I had called her significant other and been like, I don't know what's going on, but I just want to make sure that she's not harmed also. And because these gardens are huge and there's no way that I would have been able to go every single place. So I ended up telling her I was also feeling incredibly abandoned and I did need to go home and just get quiet. And this is one of these areas that I did the work this morning and I still have this issue with abandonment. This is something I've worked on. This is something I've known about. This is something that I've done a million fear inventories. This is a character defect that, seriously, I'm going to tell you guys, has stood in the way of intimate relationships. This has stood in the way of people generally have a tendency to love me and want to be really close to me. And this is something, that's pretty common. But when I feel a little bit of that, I'm done. I'm out of the relationship. I will see you. I will ghost you. I will do anything it takes to keep myself safe. I don't open. I completely, I'm closed. And I am reading a book that talks about the fact that we open and close it's not something we voluntarily do. I didn't go to this beautiful spiritual gardens to just say, I'm going to get there. And then after 20 minutes, I'm going to close my heart. I went there to keep my heart open and to be love, but something that triggered me closed that heart. And then I was closed, and then I didn't think I got open again until I talked to a friend about it this morning. And I said, hey, could you help me to process what just happened? I don't even understand. I don't even understand how I dealt with that so much like a child. I was not able to, I mean, this adult person that's been able to handle adult life pretty okay. I was not able to handle this like an adult. And her suggestion was to write a letter to my inner child and to just get really like about we are safe and you're okay and this is what we're going to be here to protect you and not to fuss at her like we had a car because that's what I was doing yesterday. We have a vehicle. We are not stranded. We can easily get our keys and we can easily get in the car. So that came up today about realizing that we have that I still have this fear. I still have a terror that runs through my body like ink in the 12 and 12, and I'm going to read page 75 in step 7 in the AA 12 and 12. So we're jumping books. It says we saw we needn't always be bludgeoned and beaten into humility. It could come quite as much from our voluntarily reaching for it as it could from unremitting suffering. A great turning point in our lives came when we sought for humility as something we really wanted rather than as something we must have. It marked the time when we could commence to see the full implication of step 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. And if you think I haven't done inventories about fear or taken workshops about fear or, but the fact that it wasn't removed on that instance and I'm showing up like a little child wanting to never, I really didn't ever want to not see her again because I adore this person and I love her. But just in that moment, wanting to retreat, wanting to hide, wanting to protect myself, and not really thinking about the consequences like an adult. And so I really like this paragraph that says that we really shouldn't bludgeon and be beaten into humility. And in the 12 and 12, there's a lot about like squarely looking at ourselves and squarely looking at our own character defects, about admitting our powerlessness, about seeing that there is an issue. And so, step 7, again, to just remind us, it's to humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. And so, what I'm going to do is I have another 10 minutes and I'm going to do a guided meditation with you guys. Y'all don't know me really well, but I love to meditate and I love to be a guide. I'm a huge meditator and I love to hold space for people. So I'm going to try to guide us into a meditation. If y'all can't get there, I totally understand it. Turn off your videos and, watch a YouTube video that about step 7 or something. I totally understand when you just can't, you're not in the space to do this. But if you can get in the space to do this, I think this will be really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And I like to have our feet on the floor if you can and just try to be grounded. There's a place that's like a string that runs from the top of your head through your bottom. And I like to imagine that string running down into the earth and with all the wisdom, with all the kind of maternal, that earthly maternal instinct, which when I did that work today, it's just that mama wound, which I think we all have. And then if you get deeper, it could be the father wound, but it's always like that child screaming for their mother. So let's try to get that energy up into us. And we're going to do some box breathing, okay? And we're just going to push that energy from mom, from into the earth, up to dad, right? Up to that upper sky, universe, the stars. And imagine you being held, and imagine you just being like this little infant and being thrown back down to your mother. And then imagine her grabbing you and throwing you back to your Father, which is the stars and the moon, the universes, the galaxy. And imagine all that energy grabbing you and enfolding you with so much love and so much power, and then dropping you back down and going down through the chakras, through the crown and your third eye and your throat and your heart, your sacral chakra, your root chakra, all of these, but kind of following down through that spinal cord. And we're going to do some box breathing, which is 4, 4, 4, 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 3, 2, 1. Out, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 3, 2, 1. In, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 3, 2, 1. Out, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 3, 2, 1. And breathe naturally. And I want you to imagine being someplace like Paris where there's those cobblestone streets and it's kind of evening and it's dimly lit. And I'm kind of thinking about like that painting of Van Gogh where there's a little bit of light and there's that cafe, that famous cafe he painted. And us walking down in those little cobblestones in the streets of Paris and walking down that, and you can hear the click of your feet in this little cobblestone walkway, and you come to a door. And that door, you're just energetically, it's calling to you. The door is calling to you. There's gold around it and it's shimmering, and you just automatically are moved and you're just projected towards this door. And you open it and you breathe, and there's steps down. And I want you to visualize yourself walking down these steps. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you get down at the bottom of the steps, you realize that you're in an opening in a meadow. And you breathe into your heart, and it's just peaceful, calm, fresh air. You take off your shoes and you walk holding your shoes in your hand, and there's a stream. You go down into the stream and you feel the rocks on your toes and you feel the water running over your feet, and you just instinctively know that this is a healing water. This water is healing. It has the power to heal us of anything that we need or we feel we need healing. So just dip your feet in there, walk through this little tiny stream, feel the pebbles that are really hard on your feet, and maybe get a massage on your feet, and cross to the other side. And on the other side, you see a bench. And on that bench is your higher power, your higher self, mama, maybe the you that you've always envisioned yourself to be, or maybe someone that you love that's passed on, that was always your mentor. And they're a bright, radiating light. And you sit down next to them and you just collapse like you feel safe. This is your safe place. This is where you're meant to be. This is where you get the answers. And I want you for the next few minutes to just ask this higher being how to remove those character defects that stand in the way of us being close to love, close to being our highest self in this world. If we come to love and if we come to give and be this radiant, shining being, ask them what closes us off from that. And I'm going to give us a few minutes to ask that. All right, let's lovingly thank our guides, all of our ancestors, all the stars, all the earth, everything, our mother, our father, anything that's ever given us wisdom, and our higher selves, that the selves that one day we will become. Thank all that, and just know that we can always find this in this place. We're not ever alone. We can always come back. We can always ask for wisdom anytime we want. We're going to walk back over the stream, that healing water. We're going to walk back through the meadow, and we're going to go up the stairs. Some 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So this morning I did a meditation, and if anybody wants it, reach out to me. It's on Insight Timer, and it's a meditation on the Serenity Prayer. And it is a talk, and it is absolutely phenomenal. This man talks about the Serenity Prayer for about 20 minutes, and I've only listened to it about 50 times. It is incredible. And he talks about the serenity prayer, the prayer that we say all the time, to the point that it doesn't even hold any weight anymore. So God, grant me the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the first time we say it, we're blown away, right? I mean, to me, the serenity prayer is almost the essence of step 7. The serenity prayer I like even better than the step 7 prayer whenever it comes to humbly asking to remove our shortcomings. Because is it really a shortcoming? Um, and I love what we said earlier about making friends with your character defects. The comment, like, stopping the fight, stop fighting with them. And the serenity prayer actually makes that really available to say, hey, grant me the serenity to accept maybe something that is in my life for a reason, and the courage to change that if necessary. Definitely sitting in a pile of guilt and shame has never helped me do either of those. It's never given me to change, and it's not helped me to accept a lot. And he says in this great talk, he says, what do all great masters say that the most powerful force in the universe is? Most would say that it's love, or any spiritual thing that you, and then at the very end of it, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, we're on this trail, but we came back to love. So my question is, how does practicing love for myself and others help me to take step 7, which is to humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings? And also, that aspect of the serenity prayer in there, practicing love, is also saying, what is the highest form of love I can do at this moment? My being engulfed in fear like I was yesterday, the highest form of love I was able to do is make sure that my friend was safe, which I did. I made sure that she was okay, and then take myself home. And I ended up taking myself home and practicing love that way. I just needed to be home and safe. I needed to be by myself. I needed to kind of, I'm an introvert, so sometimes just being overstimulated, and I do need to go back to that highest. And then today I was able to do that meditation and get that voice that was like, you're okay, you're taken care of, you're not dropped. And I was able to do some writing this morning of doing that too. So I'm going to go ahead and let you, this last time stop recording. And then I'll give you all 5 minutes.
Thanks for recovering with us.